Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. In this video, we'll be continuing on with the round 0 game reviews, covering the other game, which was the GWS versus Collingwood. Thumping from GWS in the end. I didn't catch much of this game in particular, but we'll just run through the players and sort of give you my opinion on their role that I've seen them play, and also their sort of viability, as we do obviously have some guys that are going to be outliers in terms of their scoring, as well as a lot of and I think this is what we saw last year as well, the 700k guys in fantasy, and that equates to about the 350 or so, or sorry, no, is that 350 or so? Between the 350 and 400k guys in Supercoach, their value, they're the ones that really you need to look at for opening round and see if they're the scorers that are going to do really well. But anyway, let's just jump into this video here. So as you can see, using DFS for this one, as I remembered that they had got both fantasy and Supercoach scoring for it, so that was much better, and I feel like it's just a cleaner sort of outlook there. But yeah, Ash, 25 touches, 9 marks, 7 tackles there. He ended up on a 125 with a 122 Supercoach. And he is priced, I believe, at $7.95 for fantasy. Let me just check that, which I believe is right in and around the range for the opening round guys, and their price point that they're going to really could take a big leap. And yeah, Ash 794k, as you can see there, that is 77.4 break even now, I believe, of 39. That sounds correct, which could see him really rise in opening in round 1 after, if he does do an 83 or something like that, which 83 would have him going up 37k. So he's the type of guy that I'm really actually pondering if it's valuable more than like a Perriman or something like that. Or do you maybe self-correct from a Perriman to an Ash or something like that after the buy, etc. As maybe you even try and spend the extra cash. Like I think I have Fraser at D5. Do you spend the extra little cash from to go up to Ash because of that score, and then suddenly you have a little bit more buy exposure, but you've got a guy that could potentially take that next step to be a 95 rather than Fraser, who I mean, they're sort of in similar roles as well. So maybe you take the 15 points per game less and the buy-less Fraser over an Ash who scored a 125. But that 125's in the past. Remember, scores, you can't really chase scores as much. But you can also chase the cash generation to a certain extent that he's kind of already gotten. So it's a two-folded almost way around it. Kelly, 118, 132. He was pretty good as well, 36, 7 and 5. I'm just intrigued about how Tom Green coming back, because Tom Green looked pretty much set to come back after the Giants bye, alongside McMullen, Riccardi, and some other guys from their suspensions. So they all look pretty much set to come back round 3. So round 3, you could have Hogan, Riccardi, McMullen. I actually want to just quickly, it would be, I believe, Cleary that said it. Let me just think if it was Cleary that said it or someone else. Layla, no, he might not have said it actually. Gold Coast, no, maybe, let's just see. Is there anything about it? Doesn't look like it, to be honest with you. So who else would it be? Cal Toomey that maybe talked about it, but I don't think he would have. Let's just see. Don't think so. So yeah, no one's really talked about the some news reporter did talk about it, but it's probably John Ralph actually. Let me just quickly check John Ralph, and then I will move on if it isn't so. But let's just see. Bedford Green, these are all just everything here. Doherty, let's just see. Neck injury at this stage. Neck injury. I swear he might be here. Jake Riccardi, Harvitz Thomas, and Toby McMullen would be playing. So that's, yeah, there's that for that one. And I just want to see if he talked about, yeah. And then those alongside the likes of Jesse Hogan returning. So you've got 4 returnees plus Tom Green already. So that just means it's a little bit more of a watch on the rookies. But anyway, let's get through this. Sam Taylor. There was some interest there just from this big outlier score. It is an outlier score. We all know that. But can you get some massive cash gen from a guy that's like 510k or like, what's that, 250k in Supercoach? Can you get that cash generation? I just don't know if you can. I don't know what exactly he'd be in Supercoach. So let's actually just do a quick little check about that, as I haven't actually updated my sides based on the Sunday games. But let's actually just check. Taylor, he is priced at 384, so you can't go there in Supercoach, even though we can do the pricing metric, and this is what we'll use for the likes of Daicos as well when we get to that, because we probably need to show that and how that will be affecting. So that was a 139, I believe. Get that out of there. There we go, 139, and then, wait, this needs to be 139 there. In the Collingwood tab here, 139, and then the season as a whole, let's just say he averages 80 on the season, and he scored the 139 at the Collingwood game. If it will do this, and then we can do that, and you'll see there isn't much cash generation. If we bump that up to say a 90 here, and then we go the 139 again, you will see some cash generation there, but yeah, 47k initially, but that's with him holding a 90, and then not much outside of that. If we look at his career numbers, I don't think that much value there. He's probably going to go in the 80s or so, but that's not too much value for Sam Taylor. Then we move on. Finn Callahan's probably the interesting one, and this is where I think the differential between the fantasy and the Supercoach price dynamic works. Finn Callahan's probably a start in fantasy just because he's gotten away now, and you can take the cash generation from it that he's probably going to generate. If we just go to Callahan here, you'll see what I mean by that. If we go to Finn Callahan, he's now got a break even most likely of 50 or so, which, so he's most likely going to make cash. And yeah, priced at 77. There, we sort of get a look in at that natural progression type thing, as well as if we look at the role, you'll see that as well, as I think DFS has the roles, and how good does it look with DFS back on an upgraded, I believe it's an upgraded server. It's back clean and it looks so good. It was 43% CBAs last year for a 77, and now 88% CBAs for a 110. I know that the CBAs are going to go down, let's be realistic, but let's just do when he was a full-time mid, when he went 40% plus mid or so, and just look at those stats here, and just look at how he went in terms of that. I think that's all of them. That's all of them there. He went 79.4 last year, so what am I... This is a big discussion of how much has he actually improved over the summer. And so do you take the risk now on him comparative to Chera, because it's pretty much going to be, he's going to be more expensive than Chera, and if you stuff it up, then that's your move anyway. Like, he's the more expensive guy. He's got the lower break even. He's going to be the more expensive guy after one round. Do you take that over taking on a Chera? And then if Callahan gets away again and goes 110, it would be quite hard to get to him. Well, then again, he does have the bye, but I still think that is the case. It would be quite hard to get to him. So I think in fantasy, I think you should be selecting Callahan, just because it looked like they wanted to use him as well through the middle quite a lot. He had a lot of meters gained. I think it was like 700 and something meters gained, which he isn't going to replicate every game, but he just looked like a guy that could go 95 or so to 100. And if we look fantasy quarter by quarter as well with Callahan, 30 in the last, who was on 80 at 3/4 time, which is also a pretty good number to be on at 3/4 time. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that from Callahan. Whitfield just sort of getting into the groove. It is what it is with Whitfield at this point. He's going to be in and around the market. I think there definitely is better value players for that D2, I think it is, on both platforms. And you can skirt around that buy, I think, a little bit better. Daniels is doing what Moore did pretty much a couple of days previous, and that's what we're going to get out of these small forwards. They're going to do all right, but they're pretty much holding price. Ward, Green, Himmelberg, and there's basically no one else to talk about till we get further down. Bedford, tagging, It is what it is. Jones, Grzeski was pretty good, but yeah, I'm just worried about Hogan as well as Riccardi coming back and ruining his job security. So is at an all-time low, and he's a key forward at the end of the day. How much service is he going to get with the likes of Cadman in there as well already? But I mean, you do have the likes of Keith that probably is going to have to ruck because Briggs is out with a concussion. And I'm pretty sure Kingsley said that Madden isn't really ready for AFL footy at the moment. Then we get down to the sort of rookie-based players for GWS. And I know I spent 10 minutes on GWS, but Collingwood we don't need to spend as much time on. Connor Stone, I really like this. 50, 64. It is what it is. You're probably going to be trying to get that look in from like Davidson and Stone, and then also a Corey Warner or a Sam Wicks or something like that. I think that's where you really want to pay up. And so, yeah, Stone, he did fine. 50, 64 when, it is what it is. And so I think he's going to be a guy that 8 points in the last quarter. He went on runs. If you're passing up a 50 with the early cash gen that he's just got, because he went about 20 above his price point, 30 above his price point, he's already got a break even of 0. He's already got a break even of 0, so if he goes 27, he's going to get a price change of 23k. But we know that that's probably not going to be the case. Let's just go to Stone here and then just show you with a 64 break even. Sorry, not 64 break even, a 64 score. So if I go and say he's going to average, let's just put 64 in for the sake of it. Look at that, 56k in round 3, and then round 4, 218. So yeah, you would see massive cash generation in the first like 5 or 6 weeks out of Connor Stone. And he's going to have a spike score in there. So say this was just randomly a 100 score. Let's just put that out there. Then instead of it being... wait a second. Project. Let's go to 64 and then I will change it up again. So instead of it being 176k, 218, 250, it is a further 16. Nope, that's the wrong 100. Let's put that on 64. I keep on stuffing up in this video, but let's go to the 100 in the Melbourne round 1 game. Then it's 192 instead of 176, and then it's 230, 259. So suddenly he's at 259k at round 5, and you basically made 140k that quickly. Whereas you're gonna have guys like Kako he's gonna outprice Kako so quickly. Like Kako's on the buy in round 4. I believe, is it? Yeah, round 4. So you don't get a look in at Kako. Whereas around that same price, around the same time, Kako's probably going to have to go, I think it is around that sort of 55 or so marker to get up to what Connor Stone's going to do with 60s. So he does have to do slightly less, but still, Connor Stone is a guy that has that baked into his system, is effectively about a break even of 0 already. And that's why he's so much more valuable. Leak, I didn't like it that, he didn't impress too much, and don't know if you can really start him in fantasy, to be honest with you. I don't know if I even have him in my starting side anymore. He is on my bench, so I think you can probably go bench because he is going to get another round and you're going to get cash generation out of him. But he's probably going to be a fix-up straight away, potentially. I just want to look at Patton and what about him? 458k? No, I don't like that at all. He's got a 52 break even. So, I don't think you can go with Leak in Supercoach now just because of all the players coming back in, unless he was to drift into the halfback role, which I don't think he will. Cornelia, Brown, Buckley, Cadman, and then Briggs is out concussed already. We know that with potential. I think the neck's fine, so it will just be the 1 week concussion. Then we get over to Collingwood, trying to quicken this up a little bit. Darcy Cameron, 22 touches, 37 hit outs, 136, 164 splits. He was really, really good. And I mean, it was against Lockie Keefe, which understandable that he would go well. But job done for him. I don't think you can probably start him just because the run's pretty tough, if I remember correctly. Cameron here, let me just check. The run is Port Adelaide, Western Bulldogs, Carlton, and then Gather Round Sydney, and then Brisbane, Essendon, and then it probably weakens up a little bit for Geelong, but then he has Freo the week after, so he doesn't really get that run that you're looking at and going, that's going to be a good run, especially if Brody Grundy starts to actually, if he can get better, I think, because he looked a little bit out of shape there. So, I just don't know if that run is good enough for Darcy Cameron compared to like a TDK or now a Gawn. I need to look at that Gawn run now, seriously. Perryman, 27-3-3. It's fine, and I think the best part about this shows that Perryman can do it without the tackles. A 90-93 split. If we look at Perryman now in the here, he's got a 61 break even, not the lowest break even, but still probably going to make cash. And against Port Adelaide, he could do pretty well. And so there may be considerations for switching it to Ash over a Perryman, but yeah, and potentially like a Joel Fraser. But yeah, we'll just see about that. And see what rookies we get named, as we may have to also upgrade this slot here. Or potentially a Liam O'Connell back to a Bo Allen. Potentially Bo Allen might be the option there, but we'll probably get a rookie somewhere. Josh Daicos was pretty good, 88-95, but not outstanding, so you can wait. Chris Elliott, none of these guys have mattered at all. And then the big debate, Nick Daicos, don't think you can start him now. That's going to kill him in terms of his cash generation, I should say. That's what I meant by that. Let's go to Nick Daicos and just show you the reference there about that. So if we go to 2025 and we put in, he scored a 66, I believe it was. Was it a 66? It was a 66 for Nick Daicos. And then the other scores he had, let's go that, and then we'll do the individual projections. So if he goes 137, 138 by his bye, he loses 4.2k. And then Carlton, he starts to gain it back a little bit. So by the time he hits Essendon now, because of that, instead of being, I think it was, if we just say a let's just go a 130, and then we will adjust the GWS fixture, 66, and then project that. There we go. So instead of him being at the Essendon game being like a so I think it was, and let me just do this as well. Let me just do this fully. So instead of him being 684.3, he's going to be 675.2 if he goes 130s. We also saw that he was getting tagged and he wasn't taking the game by storm, I will say. And I think that was a big critical thing about it, that he had, I think, 48 and 50. I think he had 52 at halftime or so, and then really fell off. So 52, that would be an average of 104. So he has Drew next week, then no one's going to tag from the Bulldogs, but then Carlton, he might get Cop Hewitt, then he cops Jordan, then Berry, but then the run just opens up. So I'm not too confident in him doing, I could see that Port Adelaide, I could see him doing a 110, I would say. Western Bulldogs, let's just see. Western Bulldogs, Carlton, Sydney, I think it's probably another 110 or so, I would say. Maybe even just say 100. And then Brisbane, I think he goes 100 there. And then Essendon, etc., etc. So what is he now at Essendon? At Essendon, give or take, he's about 638k. 638k, and he started at 631k. So you can see there, hasn't moved basically at all after putting up effectively 240, 370, 470, 570 in the first 6 rounds. Plus the 70, 65, 70. So what's that? 630 or so, I think, in the 6 rounds. So that's an average of 105. If you were to go realistically, an average of 105 in the first 6 weeks. And he's priced at 117. So I probably stuffed up somewhere in the calculations, but that's just showing you how powerful this 67 is in not allowing Daicos to basically get away early on in terms of his cash generation. And by the time that he gets that 67 out of his system, he faces another tag and could easily lose more cash or not really generate cash in all. Hill, more Schultz probably out of the side, to be honest, with how he played. Howe, Pendlebury, I think had like 80% CBAs. I don't know exactly what it was, but yeah, just sounded like he had that, I think. Lipinski, preseason merchant. McCreary, Maynard, Ed Allen, 19 touches for a 71. So that's pretty good. Probably the Angus Sheldrick replacement in terms of Supercoach, as they have to basically play him because their midfield is so old and slow, even though he didn't look fantastic. But yeah, would be to, don't think he's a play in fantasy, but definitely a Supercoach play. Hoskin Elliott, Myercheck, McStay, Membry, and Ned Long came on with the best. Anyway, that is the video there. Probably a little bit longer than I wanted it to be per se. But hopefully this gets out at around 6 p.m. for you guys. If you guys did enjoy that video, remember to like and subscribe. Turn the notification bell on, especially with all the content on Thursday that's coming out with all the team reveals because of opening round's done, and now we get into round 1 and the real stuff, and we lock away our team. So I'll be crunching the numbers and everything over the next couple of days to finalize the team. And it'll be most likely about 90% right, 95% right. There might be 1 or 2 changes once we get the team reveals, the lineups on the Thursday night. But then again, you'll probably just see me tweet it out as well. So just follow me on Twitter and that's what you'll get. And I guess I'll leave you guys here and see you guys tomorrow. Bye, guys.